Good morning, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Thomas with Nina Gray, and it is our Sacred Sunday show, and we are delighted to have you with us. Um, we also are going to have Mariella De La Paz joining us, and our theme is the healing power of art, or another way of putting it is how to use art as a force for healing. And so it's going to be a really beautiful conversation with Nina and Mariella. And I'm so grateful that we get to spend more time with Nina. So many of you have seen her on Saturday Night Live. She's one of our absolute favorite musical artists. And she also is the voice of our trailer and just a magnificent human being. And we get to grow closer and get to know Nina more fully today. So I'm going to put the full spotlight on her because she has agreed to lead our morning meditation, which is always a lovely way to get started. Welcome, Nina.
Hi. Hi, Scott. So good to be with you this morning. Hello, live streamers. Good to be with you too. We're going to take a moment and go on a journey together. So I invite you to close your eyes where you are, resting in your room. If you have your bottom on the ground or your feet on the ground, I want you to just really feel the ground underneath you and feel that supported, stable, safe, grounded feeling right below you. This connection we have with Pachamama, this connection we have of deep support for our walk in this world, and deep connection to this living being that provides abundantly for our needs, and that all life on this planet calls home. We're going to take a deep breath. Breathe it in, hold it at the top for a few seconds, and then breathe it out all the way through our body, through our feet, and through our bottom, connecting us to the ground. Ready? 1, 2, 3. On this exhale, feeling even more clear and sure in our deep connection to this earth. As we feel rooted and grounded, we move up through our chakra system into our sacral chakra. We feel this cord that connects us to the earth move slowly up into this womb space right near our belly button. This orange illuminated space here housing our creativity, our playfulness, our sensuality, this infinite well of overflowing inspiration. For if we ever fear writer's block or feeling stuck in our creative ambitions, we bring our loving energy and attention here to open up this space and pour forth the infinite, vast depths of all of creation right inside of our sacral, right inside of our womb. We take a breath into this space and we give thanks here, connected deeply to our creator, the creator of this universe, source energy itself. There's nothing to fear of ever running out. This cord moves up still through our solar plexus, beaming its radiant golden light into this yellow space right below our rib cage. Inside of our body, we feel this powerhouse, power center that has been born from the unique experiences that we have all lived here, amplifying our unique expression and our ability to go forth into this world to shine exactly as we are. We came here to be no one else but ourselves, and that is the puzzle piece that is needed for our masterpiece in humanity. Feeling into this yellow golden chakra, we give thanks for everything that has made us, everything we thought would break us, everything we came here to be. Moving up still, we move into our heart space. Perhaps we want to place a hand or two on our heart space. Breathing into the deep connection we have with all sentient life forms. Breathing into the cracks, the hardness, the walls, allowing them to soften and loosen, knowing that if once we constructed them to keep out what we did not want, if they still are erect and strong, we keep out all the good that we do want. So with a deep breath, we allow any barricades around our heart to surrender, allowing ourselves to feel the full spectrum of this life, to feel all the shades and flavors and waves of emotion and depth and flying. This beautiful ability to feel. Give thanks. Our heart has always been there for us. It will always continue to be here for us, reminding us with every beat in our chest that we are alive, that we came here with purpose, and the way out and the way through is feeling our way to a deeper love, a bigger love, a more connected love, our fellow human beings, and the earth itself. We bring this light and this illumination further up still, this core that started in our root, into our throat chakra, our communication portal chamber, opening our expression, transmitting messages, casting the good spells on our lives that shift beliefs, that connect us to one another, that create new worlds. We bring the opening to this space, illumination, clearing out any darkness, any cobwebs, any spaces that previously we felt stuck, we felt constricted, we felt limited in our ability to express our truth. Today we say out loud, if you're sitting in your space out loud, affirm and declare for yourself, I am free from limitation. I am free from constriction. I am open in my expression. I allow the energy pouring forth from my heart to make its way into my voice. So when people hear me speak, they feel me. I have important things to say and to express, and I welcome my expression. I am friends with my expression. I trust myself. Moving further up still into our third eye chakra. With our eyes closed, this space is open, wide open, to a vision of our destiny, our collective shared walk, this generational footprint that we are leaving and making together currently, feeling the pull from source to love, to greater respect, deeper connection. We see out beyond the field of warring ideas and dichotomy and division and bipolarization. We see beyond all that would keep us living in fear. We see to a horizon of deep and expansive love. The love we came from, the love we will once return, the love we all uniquely have the ability to amplify during our walk here. We breathe into this space, allowing this cord, this illuminated light to open even further our ability to see, to truly see. As we move up to our final crown chakra, our body, right at the tip top of our head and right above it, we breathe into that space, feeling the expansiveness of our aura, feeling the connection to the star people, to the galactic realms, to all of life and consciousness. Remembering we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Tapping into a greater knowing, tapping into the connected web of life of our ancestors, of future generations, knowing we play a specific part in that, and we are that. Flooded with the wisdom of those that came before us, walking with the vision of stewarding this life for those that come after us. From this space of violet illumination, we give thanks for being connected to what is so much bigger than us, but that is so inherently who we are at the same time. And as this cord illuminates this crown chakra above our head, we feel each chakra in our body light up from the root to the top, opening, adjusting, aligning, bringing our energy into sacred harmony and balance from the root of our body to the top of our head. Perhaps it allows us to sit a little bit straighter. This column, this vortex of energy moving through us is here as a guide, an ally, and source of great strength and power and knowing and purpose. So as we close out this meditation, we breathe in. We take a deep breath, perhaps the deepest we've taken all day, from our root to the top of our head, bringing our life force into each chakra and up out of our head. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. It's all inside. It's all inside. Thank you so much. When you're ready, feel free to flutter your eyes open.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. It's just absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
Mm. Thank you for the invitation.
A couple people have mentioned that the sound is low, so
Mm.
it's just so beautiful.
Let's see. I turned up the mic a little bit. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that's perfect. And there's Mariella. She made it perfect.
Yay.
Yay. Welcome, everybody. While Mariella's getting going, thank you so much, Nina. That was like the most beautiful meditation ever. The only
Mm.
hard part was like you took me, and so now I just want to like go like hang out in that zone for a while.
After our Zoom call, we can go back there and take some astral
I
travel.
will. I think I'll do that. I'm going to go back and play that. It's just beautiful. And welcome everybody to the Sacred Sunday Show. Welcome everybody in the Zoom room, and welcome everybody watching on Facebook. I'm Love Coach Kaka Thomas with the amazing, beautiful Nina Gray, and joining us is Mariella. Hopefully, looks like she's still working on it. Our theme is all about how to use art for healing. How to use art for healing. And hi, Mariella. Um, we do need you to unmute. If you can unmute, that'd be great. And I'll change your name.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you are.
Yay.
Perfect. Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry.
I'm just so glad you made it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I was able to follow the meditation too. So Nina, thank you so much. That was really beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad to be here with you this morning.
Thank you for inviting me.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to mainly hear from Nina and Mariella today, although I always love thoughts, comments, questions from the audience. I'll periodically check what's happening on Facebook, but it's best if you come into our Zoom room, and I'll post on Facebook how to come into our Zoom room. I also want to say hi to Deborah Giusti. I see that she's in our audience. You know, I didn't talk to you about this prior, Nina, but one of the aspects of how you use music as healing that I would love for you to share, because I'm blessed. And I'll show how to do that. I'm on a program where I get a lot of wonderful music from Nina, and she expresses beautifully through her music many different themes, including social and racial justice themes, although certainly not exclusively. But one of the things that I just want to kind of ask you to share, if you're willing, sometime today, is how you have used your music to heal whatever's going on in your personal life, or what's going on culturally, what's going on, you know, in our social and cultural world. Yeah. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and for people who don't know, Mariella is one of our absolute beloved members of our community and an amazing artist, and someone I've known for quite a while. In fact, when my wife and I moved out of one of our homes, Mariella is who moved in. So that's how, you know, synchronistic we are. And Mariella, like many people that we know and love, is dealing with a significant health challenge, a really big one. And she's doing an amazing job of dealing with it. And we want to support her. So today I am going to ask people to be supportive of her, including by looking at some of her artwork. And we're going to go to her website, see some of the amazing artwork that she's done. But a similar question for you, Mariella, will be how you have used your art in your healing journey. So I'm going to disappear myself and leave it up to these two wonderful souls to answer those questions about using art, whether it's music or painting or other art forms, for healing.
Beautiful. Do you want to take it away, Mariella?
Would you like me to start?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. The healing power of art. In my experience, there is no other bigger power of healing. That's a big statement, but it's the creative process where we begin to express what's within us that enriches our lives and the collective as well, right? So in my case, it started really early on because, as some of you know, I had an accident and I nearly lost my left eye. So I became legally blind as I grew up on my left eye. So the fact that I could actually do very intricate type of artwork was healing in itself. To be able to realize that I could just with one eye, I create compositions on that. So that was the first healing experience I had of working with art. And any creative process involves the right brain, right? And the right brain is the part that is the one connected to intuition. Therefore, there's like a spark of magic that connects us to a higher realm than ourselves. And women in general, we have a more developed right brain. And it's easy for us to tap into our emotions, or express through our artwork, like artisans do in all cultures. The women are always embroidering or sewing or doing beautiful things or decorating with flowers. So the right brain is the realm of tapping into the timelessness. That's why when we go into creating a creative process, we can't track time. And so we detach ourselves from a normal state of reality. And that's also very healing, because the normal state of reality can be quite stressful. Hello. Is that one of the white poodles?
Yeah, it's one of my pups. Yeah, I'll mute myself. Sorry about that.
No, I remember him well. Yeah, you showed up on the photo when he barked. So yes, so to me that's the magic, being in this state of creative process that is non-linear. It cannot be proven by science. It's a place where we tap into something that is the unknown, where we go, in my case, go search for images and colors that would create something that would deliver some kind of message. And for me, it's not too much about, people have, sometimes associated me with Frida Kahlo, but I don't know, because I paint out of my experiences, I don't know, but to me, it's not about painting my suffering. I mean, I spend enough time on that realm. So to me, it's painting more about what could become, or envisioning the beauty, and also depicting the beauty of nature and beauty of love, of the planet. To me, that's the biggest blessing. That we are still in a place that some places, are stressed, but others are healing, are still in the mending, healing and becoming better. So that's where I'm going to leave it, because I'd like to hear also about your process with art, Nina.
Mariella, before we go to Nina, I'm actually going to go to your website because I'd love for people, since you just described it, and I'm having a little challenge with one of my computers, so I'm kind of on two computers, but I'm going to go to right now your page, and as I kind of scroll, I want to encourage you to share with us a little bit indigenous visionary plant medicine art. Water is life. And then on your women's journey through visionary paintings. And look at these gorgeous, gorgeous use of color. I love this one, Women of the Earth.
Oh, that's a series. Yeah, that's the series. That's the one I'm the most well known for. And yeah.
I'm going to pull that up. Look at these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Nina,
Wow.
what do you think of this? Isn't it just gorgeous?
Wow. Oh my
Or one of
goodness.
these, Return of the Divine Feminine.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow.
Hmm.
These are exquisite, Mariella.
Thank you.
Oh,
Those
wow.
are just thumbnails of that one painting.
Right. So now, Marielle, people can purchase your artwork by going to your website, correct?
Yes, yes, they can purchase directly from the gallery or from my store. In my store, I'm encouraging people to do through PayPal, but either way, I think I can accept sales throughout the website.
Right. So I just want to encourage people to please go to Mariela de la Paz. That's her name, Mariela, Mariela de la Paz, DELAPAZ.com. And she's got a very significant store. And then that's where you can also go and you can purchase her posters. There's a lot of different ways
Gosh.
that we can support her in this way. So, we're going to continue the show and
Wow.
hear from Mariella and Nina more, but also really want to encourage people to go to the website and support her in that way.
Mariella, do you have an Instagram?
I do, but I've not been in it. One of the things I need to focus on. It's I have one. It's called Visionaria. I got to look it up.
55?
Yes, Visionaria 55 or Ariel 9. There's two. I was trying to separate my personal stories from my artwork, but I need to put time into it. Yes, but I am on Instagram.
And
And
it was Visionaria 55. And what was the other one?
My name, Mariela,
Uh-huh.
followed by the word RT, Marielart 9.
RT. Okay.
Marielart 9. Yes.
Mariella,
And
just
yes.
you're breaking up a little bit. Your internet connection is kind of coming in and out, just so you know.
Okay.
And I did want to mention that Claudia is in the room with us, Claudia Schult, and she writes, "These are even more gorgeous in person. I have a print and I have all of the cards, and they are a treasure. Each card has an explanation on the back, and these are fascinating." So I'm going to briefly just go to the cards, and that's where we can see all these beautiful cards that you've created that are also available. If you go to Mariela de la Paz, go to shop, and that's where you can find these cards. So just beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing your beautiful artwork with us. And again, want to encourage everybody to support her. I'll just pick one of these. Look at that.
Oof. Wow.
Lovers. Your use of color is just so exquisite. And the love that you have for humanity, I really appreciate that.
Mm.
And seeing the beauty in humanity. Just
But
love it.
it's so undeniable how connected we all are in so many spheres and realms. That's the theme.
Well, we'll take a look at a little bit more, and I apologize for having to use two computers. So some of you catching a side angle of Scott as I do that.
These are exquisite. Exquisite. I'm like almost just curious. Was there a moment in your life that just switched this on, or were you like from a young age like painting these visionary works?
Thank you. It was at a time of a great trauma that I started painting seriously, but I always had skills in art. I remember when I grew up in a Catholic nunnery type school, and the nuns were really strict. But when the art class came, the time just flew for me and I got straight A's. And I'm thinking, is this really a class? I mean, do I get graded just like I do in math and history, which to me were more challenging, and which I could never get an A. And this was having such a blissful time that I knew there was something there for me because I couldn't be more fulfilled in art class. And I was good. So, but I never thought I was good enough to go to become an artist, to be an artist. So I went to school to become an educator and I taught high school for the first part of my early adult life.
Wow.
And then I went through a very traumatic divorce. I was young. I married young and I divorced young. By the time I was 25, 26, I was going through a major depression because of the first divorce. And I was staying with my parents to heal. And mom thought of buying me a workshop. And I accepted a painting with oils. And that was the beginning of my art career. What I didn't know, the woman teaching was the wife of the major Latin American master. And I accessed their home and their studio, and they adopted me. I was practically living there for about a year. I was there staying for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And everybody in the family was a painter. So that was my training one-on-one. And I painted enough to have a professional art exhibit the first year that I started painting seriously.
Wow.
And then I lost my skills. There was a more drama in my life unfolding. And I had a near-death experience where I lost my skills after that. And it took me maybe a year to start painting again. So there's another example how, actually the only constant in my life throughout my relocations throughout the world and multiple failed relationships and two divorces, it's been art. It's been the refuge. It's been that nobody could ever take it away from me. Even when I'm too weak or too exhausted to draw, I'm still, studying nature and drawing it with my eyes, following the lines and the leaves or the trees or the animals.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing your journey.
One of the things I've noticed in your artwork, Mariela, is there's a real beauty of the feminine. And it's the feminine in natural beauty. It's not the ridiculous, commercialized, anorexic teenage girl vision of beauty that we sadly have so much of in our culture. But it's the beauty of women as they truly are, with curves and that are round and perfectly human and beautiful. And I'd like to ask you, how has that been part of your journey as a woman in our culture, a woman that's not white? How has that been for you in our culture, using your artwork to exemplify the beauty of women in a real way?
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I am from a Latin culture and particularly from Chile, where the indigenous blend with the Spanish, which I have both, comes from a matriarchal lineage, very ancient matriarchal. If you survive in matriarchal cultures in the world, the Mapuche, And that was really prevalent in my culture. And later on in life, I had these revelations that I had that blood within me through my mother's lineage. So in matriarchy, the image of a woman is quite different than what you were describing that we're being, shown in the media these days. The matriarchal culture is about the true feminine power, which is not power like to overpower the masculine, but a place that can contain and embrace the masculine, to elevate that, and also a synergy of the genders that doesn't occur, in the United States. I actually always gravitate to come. I'm now in the Latin world. Right this moment, I'm in Costa Rica. This is where I find my healing, is in my culture, where the women are revered more for their knowledge or their power, their ability to regenerate more. We are blessed to have multiple assistants. As you know, we do have our moon cycles. Well, I don't anymore, but that is actually a blessing. We're connected to the stellar system through our procreative rhythms. And so sometimes we're not in a place to give, but soon enough we are so abundant that we can, take care of everyone. So I think that's where it comes from, the Latin culture, the indigenous matriarchal lineage. That's what inspired a great part of my artwork and shamanism, but from a perspective of female shamanism.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, something else, and we have to be a little careful because we're on Facebook, but you also talk about sacred plant medicine, and one of your collections is Sacred Plant Medicine Journey. And it's a tender topic, and again, we need to be a little careful, but I also just want to acknowledge the beauty of that. And as I pull up some of these pictures from that collection, I'd love to hear you share a little bit about your inspiration and what that has meant to you.
Thank you. Well, there are plenty of locations not far from California where these plants are not criminalized and that are accessible, and it's okay to sign up for a workshop or a ceremony. So I had access to this type of experience 20 years ago, and it became a big part of my life. Actually, it's more than 20 years ago at this point, but well, I was searching for healing for my heart, my traumas. I have had plenty of traumas and never really had a moment to stop and grieve, or always stood up, shook off, and move on. But that's how the cancer manifested, I believe, from not stopping to deal with the PTSDs. And this has been an ongoing journey. 20 years ago, I started the plant medicine, and 14 years ago, I've been working with the breast cancer alongside the plant medicine. These days, I am not doing the sacraments. I am giving my body a chance to catch up with all that it's doing. The liver is really taxed. So I found the healing I was looking for, where my near-death experience in New York City in 1988 was never really fully integrated into my psyche. I didn't know what had happened. I couldn't describe it. I couldn't quite remember it, but I know some of the things that happened. So when I had my first experience was, well, I've had multiple. You're gradually going from mushrooms to ayahuasca, to peyote, and the ones that most people know, psilocybin mushrooms. And the realms I had visited, which I believe was the Bardos. I was stuck in the Bardos for multiple days. I had access to them in not in a psychotic way when I didn't know what was going on, but it showed me that these realms exist. And it was such a validation that I finally believed that I was not crazy. So it was like a sanity thing. It's like, yep, these realms are exist and there are ways to access them. And so at first I dealt with the dark part of my energy, my recollections. And then I enter into these blessings of light where the well-being experience in every cell of the body, the welcoming home into the body, into this life, was so strong that it just put me in a state of gratitude and exuberance that I could never describe with words.
Mm.
Beautiful. I'm going to show one more thing, and then we'll go to Nina for a little bit. But I think this is a really beautiful one, and it's called The Toad. And talking again about kind of the exotic world of animal medicine as well as plant medicine. And I'll read what Mariella wrote. Dedicated to the mystical animal medicine used by ancient Americans. This toad's body secretion is smoked, which has strong psychotropic effects, conducive of spiritual revelations. Here in this painting, the DNA strands split into 4, allowing access to the spirit world, represented by the figure in the smoke. And again, I just appreciate your ability to put into a visual, a very beautiful, gorgeous visual, um, such a exotic and unique experience. And that's there's a genius to that, a genius to being able to take such a personal and psychedelic experience and give it such a beautiful visual form. So I'm really appreciating your artistry. It's beautiful, Mariella. I'm going to put the spotlight on Nina for a little bit, and just want to kind of share, because we're blessed to have 2 amazing women with us today that are both remarkable artists in their own right. Nina, thank you for being with us this morning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just so blown away, and I'm setting this up because I want everybody to know about your work, um, your teachings that come through your work, and just who you are. So, in all ways, may I be here to amplify that. Incredible. I just got a message from somebody that said they were in a like a ceremony with you, and they're so happy that we're sharing space this morning.
Probably what they might be referencing is, and some of you were there, I know, on Monday, long-term friend of mine who was dealing with a very painful esophageal cancer decided to have a legal euthanasia accepted from his body.
Mm.
And so we did a Facebook Live where family and friends were able to come and say goodbye. It was amazing spending the last 2 hours of a man's life with him before leaving his body. Pretty unique experience.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us have been with loved ones as they pass, but I think it was the first time for most of us that we'd done it on a Facebook Live.
Mm.
And Richard, my friend, he took his medicine, and the last thing he heard as he fell asleep and then passed into the next world was his friends singing and praying for him.
Mm.
Just a pretty amazing way to leave the body. So that was an amazing experience that we had on Monday. So I'm guessing that's what your friend was referencing. And I know I'm recognizing some of the people in our Zoom room and on Facebook were part of that experience. And I also want to thank Larissa Stowe, who I co-hosted that with. So anyway, it was an amazing thing. We're all still, I talked to Larissa a couple of nights ago and she said, oh my God, I'm still feeling all of that. It was very profound.
Mm.
But I want to put the focus back on you, Nina. How how have you used your music to express, especially if you don't mind my asking, when there's been big discomfort, whether it is personal discomfort or discomfort on what's going on in our world? How do you channel that and work with it?
Yeah. I love the medium of music specifically has been the artistic space that resonates with me. As a child, it was always this space of like really feeling free and unlimited and seen. And as I grew, it became the space to not only translate and transmute the tougher emotions that I didn't quite understand. Mariella, you bring forth trauma and how that can activate this desire to search for something more. And when we're in these spaces, and personally, when I went through my teens, I experienced a traumatic episode of feeling really disconnected from my body and really shameful. And the aspect of shame and disconnection drew me to try to understand what this life experience was meant for. And the narrative in my mind that started to become this constant pain body of you're not good enough, you ruined your chance at a good life, why did you mess up, but nobody likes you. It was music was this one space where I could just put that on pause or siphon all of the feelings that were inside into something that felt like it was coming out of my body. And for me, for a long time, that was just a tool of my personal healing. And just to keep my personal sanity as much as I could. In my 20s, when I, kind of took the path that I thought I should take after going to college and studying marketing and largely walking the path of responsibility and tradition. At 22, I was working a sales job in San Francisco. And on the day of Steve Jobs' death, actually, I took a walk and went past the Apple store and saw all of these Post-its in beautiful colors on the windows of the Apple store with notes from people like, oh, Steve, your work has impacted my life, or I love your creativity. It's inspired me to write this book, or thank you for your genius. And I looked at this wall and I started crying and recognizing that, agree with his principles or way of being or not. This was somebody that really lived a path of their artistry and brought their tools forward and their unique purpose forward in a way that impacted so many lives and inspired so many lives to create themselves. And that part I really resonated with because I always felt deeply like I wanted my life to be in service to something beyond me, and if anything, to be inspiring to someone else to create the life that they appreciate and love. So it was on that day that I walked back to my office and I went into my manager's office and I said, I think this job, this corporate sales tech job is not really lighting up the space in my heart that I know I was put here for. And on that day, I put in my notice and I made a commitment, like however hard or however much I may struggle on this path of artistry, I have to do what sets my heart free. I have to do what makes me feel alive and connected to that life force and creativity, and what Elizabeth Gilbert calls, she has a great TED Talk and her book Big Magic talks about this a lot, but the creative muse and the creative genius, that when she poses that at the turn of the 19th century, we went from saying I have a genius to I am a genius. And that internalization of the genius started this kind of unfortunate renaissance of a lot of tragic creators that felt the immense pressure of having to put out this work because everyone called them a genius. But she did some research and found that before we were calling ourselves genius, a genius was believed to be a creative fairy that lives inside of the walls of artists. And when we show up to our artistry, that fairy, that genius comes to meet us and move through us. So I deposit that to say, when I was in my spaces as a child and writing, or even after I quit my job, to be united with that space of genius and to sit in my apartment and all of a sudden to overwhelmingly feel this inspiration, that's what made me feel most alive. And anything that I was doing was not worth the price of that feeling. If I wasn't feeling that, my path, that wasn't part of my path. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Earlier, before the show started, you and I were talking about those moments in life where we make a key choice that changes the entire direction of our personal life. We're also talking about how there's choices made by humanity at a certain point that also send us on a track. And I'm loving that story, how you made a very powerful choice to follow your personal integrity and to really cultivate your genius. And I want to say you are such a clear channel for spirit to flow through. I mean, of course, God, life has gifted you with a beautiful voice. But thank you for utilizing that voice. Thank you for utilizing that gift.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, and I thank you so much. And that was one of the motivating factors to separate from that job. And I guess I want to hit this point home for anybody that may be in that point of transition, or maybe is thinking about stepping more fully into their artistry or their creativity. If you have that calling that you're, you know, my unique puzzle piece and my contribution to humanity in this world, when I was looking at my day-to-day tasks in my job and I was looking at kind of the setup that I was in, I just felt deep in my soul like I feel like a replaceable cog in a big wheel, and I don't feel like this is where I can give my most oomph. Like, I have power in here, I have gifts in here, I have love in here, and this role is just not conducive to me sharing that, all of that. And I could swallow that down for the first day, the first month, the first quarter. But after that, it was very clear that I needed to put myself in a space where my unique contributions could be set free and could be poured forth. And, you know, I think all of us are born with that acorn seed of unique contribution, with that gift that is so particular and sacred to us, and why we're here, why we were born. And to honor that is a great honor, but also I do believe part of our responsibility before we turn the page on this life.
I've gone to gallery views, so Mariella, you're on camera with Nina and I for a minute. As a coach, one of the things that I work with, because I train other coaches, there's an expression called imposter syndrome, where we fear that I'm not good enough to coach, or I'm not good enough to sing, or I'm not good enough, right? And I've observed some amazingly talented people that hold themselves back because they're in a story. I'm not ready. I need to do this first. I need to get this degree first. I need to, whatever it is. And I just, I want to blow that up. It's like, for those of you who are parents, were you ever ready to be a parent? Right? Nina, were you ever ready to sing in front of an audience? Mariella, were you ever ready to have your first gallery showing? Right? We're never ready to do the great things. We just do it. Right? And so I just wanted to emphasize that. And maybe Nina, Mariella, you might want to riff on that, because you both have courageously moved forward with your artwork, despite, I'm sure, obstacles, financial obstacles, cultural obstacles, people that meant well, that said, "Now get a real job. Don't quit that job, Nina." Right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And that's, I would love to hear your piece on this, Mariella, and I will pass it over. And I want to say one thing about the miraculousness of following that calling and that path are the synchronicities that start to pop up on your journey, and the messages from spirit that almost feel like they're saying, keep going, that just somehow when you're on the path that isn't quite aligned with your soul essence, it just feels different. And for me, those little moments are everything. They're the encouragement, they're the affirmation and confirmation that really had kept me going, especially when I started on this path of choosing my artistry.
Yes. It's interesting when Scott was asking, were you ever ready for your first concert or your first time on stage, or was I ever ready for my first art exhibit? Yes, I was. I was totally ready. And what happens, there are these moments in life when you get all green lights to achieve your heart's desire. Things begin to align miraculous from all kinds of directions, and boom, you're given exactly what you needed to do this kind of thing. So that's what happened with my first exhibit. And things just happened. The teacher thought I had enough quality work and the gallery was available. We had to ask permission because I wasn't a professional artist yet, but they said, yeah, her work is good enough. And I did sell pieces, which is wonderful. But also, it happens in the creative process itself, magic aligns. Like, for instance, I'm very consumed with the particular part of the project in the canvas. And I'm thinking of this particular type of blue that's really unique, that has this tint of turquoise, but not too much, And I'm thinking of that color. And of course, I have 300 tubes to choose from, all half labeled, and you have to look. And then as I'm thinking of this blue, this left hand lands on the tube. And you pick it up, and it's like, you don't have to spend the time. So there's, like I said, there's these miraculous moments that come together, and that those are the ones we need to be ready to ride, because it is a timing, the portals close, they're not always open. So once you take that risk of go through the needle, the eye of the needle, across the other side, then other things begin to happen. But it's trust, and surrender.
Ooh,
Beautiful.
I love that.
Do either of you have any stories you'd like to share? Because I always love, this is a chance to get to know Nina and Mariella more personally. Do you have any specific stories you want to share of how you experienced a very specific personal transformation through your art, through your music? I mean, we've talked in generalities about it, but is there a specific story that either of you would like to share?
I have a story of transmutation and alchemization, based on the trauma I experienced, in my early teens. I developed this narrative and inherited this narrative of unworthiness and not good enough, which created a real critical lens on myself consistently, that developed into an eating disorder. And so for a little over 10 years, I struggled with bulimia, and I couldn't feel satiated. I never felt satiated. So my response to filling that eternal bottomless void was to just fill it temporarily with food, and then that wasn't the answer. But I couldn't. There was a deep well of love that I wasn't ultimately giving myself, so I was searching to fill it in other ways. And there was a exercise that I was challenged to do. I went through an emotional intelligence training group, and one of my coaches inspired me and challenged me to look into the mirror at my own eyes and repeat the phrase, "You are enough. You are enough. You are more than enough," until I really believed it, until I really could feel it. And I walked away with the invitation, like, okay, I'll do this tonight. It's an assignment, whatever. But not paying too much attention to it. And so I get home and I sit in front of my mirror and I say the phrase a few times, "You are enough. Nina, you are enough. You are more than enough." And it took me a while before a shift happened, about a minute and a half. But something in that moment, like really staring deeply into my own eyes, something broke. It's like a dam was released, and I felt the wall that I had constructed between me and the truth of that statement I had held up for so long. And I let myself feel the words, like for the first time. And I'll get emotional thinking about it now, but I let myself feel that, not from external validation, but from internally. You are enough. There's nothing more you need to do, but just be you, be who you were created to be. Shine the light that's already in you. Feel how worthy you are of love. Now you don't have to wait for anything. And that moment inspired a song called Enough that I later put onto my album. And in that moment of feeling that emotion and then writing that song, and the whole time I was writing it, I just decided to be brutally honest and talk about my bulimia in the song, talk about all the moments I looked in the mirror and didn't feel this, where I was pinching and pulling and, sucking in, and all the times I looked at the mirror as this form of judgment and attack and perceived perfection. And just letting all of that fall away and just feel the wholeness and enoughness. And I'm forever grateful for that invitation to that exercise, and for that moment, for being a seed that transformed my relationship to self.
Wow. What a beautiful story. And I just really, of course, our tears come like they just did for you, Nina, when we're speaking deep truth or when we're remembering deep truth, right? And I think, I have felt it, there's this wave of truth for the world, because shame is the great human epidemic. Shame is what keeps us all so stuck from living our life fully, and I think that is the power of what you and Mariella are demonstrating today. You're artists. You were born for many reasons. We're here to learn to love, starting with ourselves, and to express ourselves in our own unique way. No one will ever sing like Nina Gray. No one will ever create art like Mariella. And so each of us has our own unique, we're all God experiencing itself as Nina, as Scott, as Mariella, as the people watching, with the unique ability to bring it through. I don't know if any of you remember the book Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Wonderful, wonderful book by Richard Bach. And I loved that book. And then I also loved his next book called Illusions. all about a reluctant Messiah. And I had the opportunity to interview and hang out with Richard Bach for a while. Beautiful man, really beautiful soul. And he told the story about how he literally channeled, he was hanging out and there was this seagull that came and he would kind of talk to the seagull and the seagull told him the story that he put into the book, sent it off. It made its way to a publisher, got published, became enormously successful. And all of a sudden, this guy who had never had money had all this money coming in. And he didn't feel like he deserved it because he felt like it wasn't even his story. He had just, told the seagull story. And so for a while, he sabotaged the money because he didn't feel like he deserved it. And then finally, he went to a beautiful spiritual teacher who reminded him of what we're talking about, that all of us have these opportunities to express in our own unique way. And yes, from one perspective, Mariella's art, Nina's music, it's all channeled, right? It's all connected to source. But it took Richard's unique trust in himself to write it down and, not just say this is crazy that I'm talking to a bird, but to trust it, to experience it, to put it into written form in his own way, and touch the lives of millions of people. And so the bottom line of what he said was to deny our creative expression is to deny God itself. Right? So I just really want to acknowledge the beauty of both of you, how you are embracing life. You're embracing, call it God, call it life, call it Great Spirit, call it Holy Spirit. You're embracing it and you're bringing it through your art. And I try to bring it through my coaching, my teaching, and each and every one of us can bring it through whatever we do that we are truly inspired to do.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, it's Sunday. I had to give a little short sermon, I guess.
Yes.
Well, I want to let people know how they can support both of you. And since we've got Nina there, Nina has a wonderful website, which I'm going to go to right now. And it's easy. It's her name, Nina Grae. She spells that Ninagrae. So it's Nina Grae, Ninagrae.com. And I agree. What a time to be alive. And she's got a lot of wonderful gifts for us. But what I really want to direct people to is do what I've done. And let me tell you, this is one of the best choices I've ever made. I became a patron of Nina Grae. And I think I'm going to upgrade because I've been doing the $18 a month. I'm going to upgrade today to the $42 a month because I get so much from her. It's amazing. And so you can pick, and she sends out songs and musings, and it's abundant and it's always exciting. Like I'm going through my email and most of it's junk, and then it's like, there's a new Nina Grae. There's a new Patreon thing. So it's really simple. You just go and you click join, and you can sign up, with Google or with your email, and you join. And it's a wonderful way to support her. And I'm going to upgrade.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And you do such a great job, Nina, of providing so much to us. So I really appreciate that.
There was an inspiration. Music Making Monday started in 2015, and everyone, used to and still uses the phrase like, "Oh, it got a case of the Mondays." Like, "Oh, it's Monday." This just heavy energy surrounding Monday. I'm like, "Oh, poor Monday. It gets such a bad rap." So this idea to share an original song and music video on Mondays, was born in 2015, and it's evolved to over 200 songs and music videos since then. And so every Monday I share a new song and music video with my Patreon community, and it's a joy to share and Thank you so much for being a patron, Scott.
Absolutely. It's one of the best things I've chosen to do.
Oh,
I also want to let people know a wonderful way that we can support Mariella, and that is to go to this little Q code. Oh, I got to go back. I'm doing two computers, so it's a little bit, I feel like Keith Emerson, but not nearly as adept. So here's the wonderful thing that you can do. Take your camera, or take your cell phone, and go to camera, and you go all the way up, see the little dinosaur in the middle, and you'll see at the top a little gray bar comes up that says open GoFundMe in Safari or Chrome or whatever it is. You click that, and bingo, it takes you to Mariella's donation page, takes you to her GoFundMe. And we're looking to raise $18,000. We're not quite halfway there, but we're getting closer. And so that's how you donate. And I donated last week. I'm going to donate again right now. And I really want to encourage everybody to support Mariella. So you can do that by going to her GoFundMe campaign, or as we said before, I'm going to leave this up for a minute so people have time. And I love this is such a wonderful new way for us while we're doing all our Zoom broadcasts to raise money for our friends. We did this for Mariella last Saturday night, a week ago. Last time we did it we were raising money for the Global Coherence Pulse. And, if you're abundant in your life, and we all are abundant, let's face it, we all have food, we all have shelter. Let's really support each other. Let's support our musical artists like Nina. Let's support our artists like Mariella. And let's also support our community members when they're going through a health crisis. So it feels good. It feels good to be generous. It feels good to support. I always try to remember when I'm making a donation, say, I am so grateful that I can easily make this donation. I'm so grateful I can easily make this donation. I don't have to choose between eating today and donating to Mariella. I don't have to choose whether I'm going to pay rent or support Nina Gray. So we're blessed. Most of us are very, very blessed. So let's be abundant. And again, a reminder, another way is if you want to get something for your donation, which is totally cool, Mariella's wonderful website. You can go to Mariella de la Paz, and that's where you can go in and get some of her artwork. And so that's the other way to do it. I'm going to share screen. And a reminder, there's her wonderful homepage, and it's marielladelapaz.com. marielladelapazart.com. M-A-R-I-E-L-A, Mariella de la Paz, DELAPAZ.com. And there's a wonderful opportunity to choose just to learn more about her by going to her website, all about her work and her story. So this is a wonderful way to support her as well. I'm going to go back to gallery view, and this is where each of you get a chance to kind of your final thoughts and words for today. Mariella, anything you'd like to share before we conclude?
Well, I have been a teacher many times, but I'm aiming to teach younger children on skills, skills of art. And I'm attempting to do that here in Costa Rica. So wish me well.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Well, let's put Mariella in our prayers. We talked about financial support, but definitely I'm a strong believer in the power of prayer. So let's put Mariella into our prayers as well. Seeing her teaching children, she's got radiant health, and she's teaching children and helping all the little Mariellas and all the little Ninas and all the little Chiquitas out there, the little niños to learn how to express themselves through art. I totally owe that vision. Beautiful. And Nina, I'm going to you, put the spotlight on you. Oh, you taking a picture of us. I love it.
I was, and of the website too. I love you. Oh, am I on mute?
No, we hear you.
Okay. That might be the first time I thought I was on mute, and I'm not. Yeah, I love this website. I love your work, Mariella. I love your work. And you're walking the walk and walking your truth. And I can't even imagine what it'd be like to have you as an art teacher. So I'm definitely holding that vision as well. More people get to experience your brilliance. Yeah, was there a question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Any final thoughts before we conclude?
Oh. Final thoughts. Yeah, I really loved what you said, Scott, about the us being in our creativity, and it's like it's being connected to the creator of all things, like us living into our creative gifts. And by suppressing those gifts, often that can result in a diseased state, by tapping into our creativity, anyone who's watching, give yourself that hour of a day, even if it just starts small, to be fully immersed in that timeless dimension, as Mariella was saying, to expand into that creative space, because it's so good for the soul and so nourishing to the spirit and fulfilling of the reason why we're here, I really believe.
Beautiful. Thank you, Nina. I'm going to read a few comments from our audience. Nina, Nancy writes beautifully and eloquently about not being shamed, and how important that is, kind of that conversation. Wilma writes, thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you from the heart. Claudia writes, Scott, do we have time for a song from Nina? Now, I'm glad you're asking, because I wasn't going to ask her. I didn't want her to think I only asked her to be on a show to sing. So that's a question from Claudia.
Oh, I would love to share a song. Oh,
well, that's good news. I have to admit, I was shy to ask because I didn't want you to think I was just having you on the show because I love hearing you sing.
No, I would love to share a song. And I was thinking about it today, and I realized, we're almost at the end here, so that's perfect. Claudia, this one's for you.
Correct.
This is a song called Breathe, and it was written recently as a tool for me to recenter myself right around the 4th of July in America. The fireworks and everything was just causing some disturbance in my body. So I had to bring myself back to my breath, and this song was very helpful in doing that. So I hope it is the same for you. Can you hear the guitar okay?
Yes, sounds perfect.
Okay, great. When my mind can't find the words and my heart's a mess, I got to remind myself to breathe through it. When there's fire behind my eyes and grief inside my chest, I got to remind myself to breathe through it. Baby, breathe. Come home to yourself, darling. Breathe it all out, then breathe it all in. Baby, breathe. Come home to yourself, darling. Breathe it all out. Then breathe it all in. Oh, when the weight of this whole world feels so heavy on my soul, I got to remind myself to breathe through it. When the shadows and the depths will not let me get no rest, I got to tell myself to breathe through it. Baby, breathe. Come home to yourself, darling. Breathe it all out. Then breathe it all in. Breathe it all in. Baby, breathe. Come home to yourself, darling. Breathe it all out. Then breathe it all in. Don't make it complicated, babe, just breathe. Don't you worry about if you're doing it perfectly. Don't make it complicated, babe, just breathe. Let your chest rise up and fall down naturally. Darling, breathe it all out. Breathe it all in. Thank you.
Oh my God. I feel so blessed to hear Nina music and a Nina meditation. So now I'm going to start. I've moved this recording, by the way, this is recorded. You can find this, everybody, on my Facebook page. And I'll also turn it into YouTube. So it'll show up on the Saturday Night Live YouTube channel. And so we can always go to the beginning and listen to the meditation. We're going to go to the end and listen to her beautiful song. Thank you, Nina.
Thank
Mariella,
you. Thank you, Scott. Yes.
thank you so much for being the inspiration. You were the inspiration for today's show. So
How wonderful. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Scott. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mariella.
Blessings, safe travels. Hey, Nina, I'm found a new sister. I'm going to be following up with you internally, privately. Thank you. Thank you,
So,
honey.
a reminder to everybody watching, and the majority of people who watch the show actually watch the replay. Like I'll notice afterwards, I'll have like 200 views, but the next week we'll have 2,000 views. So if you're watching the replay or you're watching right now, please share this with your friends. I noticed that Claudia made that suggestion, and yeah, let's share it out with the world. This is a wonderful way to help more people learn about Nina, learn about Mariella, and even
the Sacred Sunday Show. Look forward to seeing all of you and all of our ongoing Global Peace Tribe events and shows. And I know that I'll be connecting with you all again soon. Thank you so much and have a beautiful, beautiful day. God's blessings, everybody.